Today, Gonzo had asked me to do a short scripture reading and a very short message, which I'm going to do next before we do our next hymn. And what I would like to do is I'd like to read from Ephesians 6:10 through 18, where it talks about the whole armor of God. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God." These verses have been used many, many times for many sermons over the years. And for me, they're very special. As our son Tim gave a full sermon on these verses when we were in our past church up in Wisconsin. And what do they mean? Well, I'd like to read from Dr. David Jeremiah's commentary on these verses on spiritual warfare. And he states that people often think of war as glamorous until they or someone they know become a casualty. The same is true in the spiritual area. Spiritual warfare seems to be a popular subject of our movies, lectures, books, and preaching, but many believers are casualties of Satan's schemes. Make no mistake, whether they are aware of it or not, all Christians are engaged in a very real spiritual battle between two opposing kingdoms. And those least in the know are often the first casualties. Thankfully, Paul provides believers with a self-defense course in Ephesians 6. And Jesus equips us with all 6 dimensions of our spiritual armor. He is our truth, our righteousness, our peace, the object of our faith, the source of our salvation, and the living Word of God. When we put on Jesus Christ, we are protected by the only person Satan has never defeated. Using the armor of a Roman soldier as a model, the Apostle Paul describes how the Christian can stand strong in the midst of this ever-present but unseen spiritual battle. First, the belt of truth. The soldier's belt served as a foundation of his armor, holding his sword and his breastplate. Because Satan is the father of lies, he cannot stand against the truth. Jesus said, "I am the truth." Victory in spiritual warfare starts with truth. Second, the breastplate of righteousness. The breastplate guarded the heart, the source of the soldier's life. In a similar way, righteousness protects the spiritual life of the Christian. Our righteousness comes not from ourselves, but from Christ. Third, feet protected by the gospel of peace. The soldier's heavy, armored sandals gave him traction and security in the heat of the battle. So our peace with God through Jesus Christ gives us security in the face of Satan's accusations. Fourth, the shield of faith. The soldier's leather-covered shield could be soaked in water to extinguish the flaming arrows of the enemy. Faith in God's promises deflects and extinguishes the lies of Satan. Fifth, the helmet of salvation. The armored helmet protected the soldier's brain. Since the primary battlefield in spiritual warfare is the Christian's mind, assurance of salvation defeats the doubts Satan uses to attack us. Sixth, the sword of the Spirit, the Word of God. Paul noted only one offensive weapon, the soldier's sword. For the Christian, the sword is the Word of God. These 6 items by David Jeremiah that he lists, the belt, the breastplate, the sandals, the shield, the helmet, and the sword, are all given to us by God for our protection in our daily battles. May the Lord give us understanding and power in His holy word.